On the request of the devotees, he complimented. Now here we learn a great lesson from Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was out and out a sannyasin. He had total dispassion for the worldly objects. So it matters little whether he wears a new cloth or an old cloth or an old cloth, because he was above body consciousness, that we know. Most of the time he would carry his dhoti on his armpit without having any concern about his body. But then still he is conscious about his environment, those who are present, about their ways and standards of life. The lesson he gives to us is this, that it is not enough that we are good, we should appear as good also. Sri Ramakrishna is a holy man, whether a householder or a sannyasin. That's why people used to love him, for his tyaga, renunciation. So tyaga is of two dimensions. One is meant for the householder devotees and the other is meant for the sannyasin disciples. The householder devotees should maintain tyaga, renunciation internally, not outwardly. But the sannyasis must display tyaga both internally and externally. So here Sri Ramakrishna is representing the model of both, maintaining the highest standard of a householder and also a highest standard of a sannyasin. As per the order of the sannyasin, he must have dispassion for his clothes. There is no hankering or desire for dressing and cosmetics and all that. But on the other hand, the devotees wanted to offer a piece of cloth as a token of their devotion. The two things very interesting. One is his social image and the other is his spiritual image. So he is the beloved of the devotees. When the devotees approach him for a piece of cloth, so he, in response to the devotion, he accepts it. Maintains both. So in this way, we must be having a constant vigil on our conduct. This is the message. We cannot afford to be careless. We must be aware of the environment, people around us, and the image we are supposed to present before one and all, especially those who are the followers and admirers and devotees of Sri Ramakrishna, Srimad Sharda and others. Because there is an expectation of people, how these people are behaving, so that by seeing them, they are having an opinion of the masters we are following. So our life should be very well guarded, and it is not enough that we say that we are maintaining good life, but it should be appear also. दिखाई पड़ना चाहिए हम जो अच्छे हैं, हम भगवान को भजन कर रहे हैं, दिखावटी के लिए नहीं. But people, there is an expectation. We cannot behave in such a way which is contrary to the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna and others. And Sri Ramakrishna is demonstrating in his own life by his being such an exalted position. He is conscious about the trivialities of our social customs and norms. Secondly, we find here Sri Ramakrishna is showing extraordinary affection to Narendranath. Now, Narendranath was then a young person who was having a very tough time at that moment. His father suddenly expired, putting them in a lot of debts, and his relations wanted to drive them away and take hold of their property. So he was in a great fix, and he didn't have any job, neither sufficient money for his maintenance. So he was in a very helpless condition. But Sri Ramakrishna identified Narendranath's special spiritual dimension. He could see that though this person appears like this in front of us, but he is indeed a great spiritual giant. He is one of the rishis of the 7 rishis which are shining in the universe. So he has come for propagation of the mission and the message of Sri Ramakrishna. He has been brought here with that assignment. So Sri Ramakrishna was extremely sensitive and careful about Narendranath. This time also when he came, Narendranath was sitting, not giving much importance to Sri Ramakrishna. It's interesting that Swami Vivekananda, in the form of Narendranath, came to attend this birthday celebration out of formality, curiosity and love for Sri Ramakrishna. Not that Sri Ramakrishna was a great spiritual leader. Narendranath didn't have that conception till then. Because Sri Ramakrishna came by covering his spiritual glory. He used to appear as a most ordinary person. That was the Leela. For that he has come. So here, now, but Girish Ghosh was there who could identify his spiritual genius. Now Narendranath came. When Narendranath came, there was this kirtan was going on. Now on this occasion, there was some devotional songs going on in Dakshineshwar. And from early morning, around 8 o'clock when Master, this recorder came, we saw that Sri Ramakrishna is hearing the kirtan and he went into ecstasy. And in ecstasy, he touched by his feet in the lap of Narendranath. So, Narendranath was naturally felt embarrassed, and after some time he left the room. But Sri Ramakrishna was still in ecstasy. And then he instructed someone, that Babu Ram, to go and feed Narendranath. Now other people could not understand what was going on. But Thakur knew that this person is an extraordinary spiritual being who has come for propagation of his message. Girish Chandra Ghosh was present there. The recorder of the Gospel mentions that Girish Chandra Ghosh could understand and believe and appreciate that Sri Ramakrishna is no other than God Himself, who has taken avatar, who has taken incarnation as a human being to do good to the world for the benefit of the mankind. He's not meant for only a local group of people of Bengal or India. He comes for the entire universe. Sri Ramakrishna comes as the God incarnate for the emancipation of the entire universe. Girish Chandra Ghosh could understand, appreciate and believe, not others. And he openly disclosed it to Sri Ramakrishna. सीधा बता दिया, आप तो भगवान हैं. He had that guts, he has so much of belief he has, intense conviction in his mind that he is no other than God himself. Whereas people like Narendranath, who are educated, English educated, they were always skeptical during his lifetime. How can this person be an incarnation of God? He has so much of shortcomings, physical handicap, mental handicap, etc. He was, after all, later became a cancer patient. How God can get into such deadly disease, even if they have to come? God is a supernatural person. So this confusion is always there. In this backdrop, the conversation of Girish Chandra Ghosh and Sri Ramakrishna is very interesting. Girish Chandra Ghosh openly says here that this appearance is very, very misleading. That was the conclusion of Girish Chandra Ghosh. And he compares Sri Ramakrishna as Sri Krishna himself. He says, your ways are like Krishna's. He too pretended many things to his mother Jashoda. Sri Ramakrishna is pretending. I just gave one example here, that he was saying that he is having so much of difficulties. Girish Chandra says it is all appearance, nothing is like that. Now this comment is very interesting, how Sri Ramakrishna is replying to this belief of Sri Girish Chandra Ghosh, because one way he cannot deny that he is incarnation of God. On the other hand, he cannot accept, because if he accepts and openly declares that he is an incarnation of God, then this advent becomes futile. His arrival, he has come incognito. When God comes as a human being, he comes in a disguise to demonstrate an ideal personality and ideal situation where we can further progress. So he wants that we should find him out rather than he discloses his identity. That is the main problem here, that God is coming with a disguise, and perhaps for that we cannot recognize him. He is coming and going away. But here there are rare souls, we can identify him, like Girish Chandra Ghosh. He says, I have concluded that your ways are like Sri Krishna's. He too pretended many things to his mother Jashoda, because he is extremely powerful. God is supreme power. But when he comes as a human being, then he appears that he is almost helpless. He has no strength, as was demonstrated in the life of Sri Krishna. Then Sri Ramakrishna acknowledges that. Sri Ramakrishna himself is saying that Sri Krishna appeared in Vrindavan at a very tender age. He lifted the entire Govardhan mountain. He lifted. So, but at the same time, he is coming back to his adopted parents, and Ma Jashoda and Nandaraj, and saying that I cannot even lift a wooden stool. It's contrary to each other. See, Krishna as a child, he lifted the Govardhan Shila, a mic thoda ठीक करो. He lifted by his left hand. But when he comes to the household, he shows that he cannot even lift a wooden stool. So Girish Ghosh says, you are also doing the same thing here. You are pretending as if you are a helpless person, but in reality, you are the God of the universe. Sri Ramakrishna did not deny, he says yes. Toward the end of his life, he started acknowledging his divinity. When Girish says, yes sir, I have understood you now. I have found it out. Though you came in disguise, but I found out you are no other than God of the universe. Sri Ramakrishna then says that true. Sri Ramakrishna says, it is true. मैं मान ले रहा हूँ. And he justifies why Sri Krishna behaved like this. Why Sri Krishna, being all powerful, he was pretending that he cannot lift a wooden seat. Sri Ramakrishna says, it was because Krishna was an incarnation of God. God becomes man so that man may become God. So he becomes a man and his humanity is an appearance. The divine cannot be human, but divine can assume a human form. You have to understand. God, when he comes as a human being, he does not become human. He is divine, but with a garb, with a covering of humanity. He appears as human, appears, not in reality. Sri Ramakrishna is acknowledging this, that the allegation was done against Sri Krishna by here, that he is behaving like this. That Girish goes, but Sri Ramakrishna is true. I also do the same way, because I am doing it, but presently it is designed that way. Now he is justifying because Sri Krishna was an incarnation of God. Incarnation of God does not come here for purposes of the ordinary souls. Ordinary souls come to the world to become liberated. And God incarnates in the world to make others liberated. They are eternally free. So since he is coming with that mission of making others liberated, so they are governed by a set of rules that they cannot disclose themselves. And accordingly, he kept him hidden. Now, that's why this dichotomy is there. You see, Krishna easily lifted the hill of Govardhana with his hand, but he made Nanda believe that he found it very hard to carry a footstool. Now, Girish Ghosh says, yes sir, I have understood. This Girish said, I have started understanding you. It's the most important. Our extent of spiritual progress is directly proportional to the extent we are able to understand Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna, somebody is being him as a spiritual aspirant and the beginners. Some say that he is well versed, he becomes a teacher or a professor, then he runs his own show. But their excellence depends on their power of identification of Sri Ramakrishna himself. That is important. And having said that, Narendranath comes here and sings a song. Hearing that song, Sri Ramakrishna goes into ecstasy. Then it was about food time. The food was arranged in his room, and but he went into ecstasy. He could not hardly take any food. So that we have to understand. His birthday celebration is going on, but the main agenda is spiritual unfoldment. Sitting it all, he is demonstrating how the interaction of God is possible in our day-to-day life. He went into deep samadhi. Of course, he came back after some time, but giving an indication that every day we must have similar communion with God. Then only the life becomes fulfilled, life becomes joyful, life becomes rewarding. And what happens when a person enters into that samadhi? He says he could not eat. He was taking food in both his hands, and someone helped him. Someone helped him to eat his food, and then not only he, other companions, Nitya Gopal, etc., went into samadhi at that time. So with much effort he was brought to consciousness. So in told this samadhi is that we are all spiritual beings, and whatever festivity we are engaged in, we should always remember that at the back of everything there is the divine presence of Sri Ramakrishna himself. So all this happened, and then from Kon Nagar, another party of singers, Kirtaniya, came and they were singing. But their songs were not so deep. So Sri Ramakrishna indicated that such should not be the shallow depth of the songs. Songs should be such that we can offer our body, mind, soul, etc. with raised hands, no reservation. So here this Kirtan was doing some from reservations. Sri Ramakrishna wanted Kirtan should be the full time with full energy and full spiritual fervor, so that it becomes an inspiring event for being in this situation. We will continue further in our next Sunday interaction. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampaadhritavigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namama. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. We'll close now with chanting of the Lord. Please join with me. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om